Ladies and gentlemen, hey, welcome back to the program. We have a special treat. So at universities really across the country, but specifically here in the state of Arkansas, there are college Republican clubs, and we're lucky that they're still approved by college universities, honestly, at this point. But we have one of those, a president of the A-State College Republicans. His name is Chris Hayes, and he joins us now. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fantastic. So what can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? First of all, like where are you from, what you majoring in?
All right. Well, I'm originally from Des Arc. It's around Searcy. I'm double majoring in finance and supply chain management, and I'm a senior here at Arkansas State.
Okay, so you're a senior. So what is that? I guess you've worked your way up to become president of the College Republicans. Obviously,
Yeah.
Freshmen don't become president of the College Republicans.
Not usually.
Okay.
Right.
So what was your what was your experience like? Leading up to this point.
Really, I was just a member. I try to help out as much as I could. We try to get involved with local elections, local events. Like we hopefully have a group here at the Congressman's Cook-Off here next week.
Okay.
Just kind of volunteering,
Yeah.
doing whatever we can to help.
So you're talking about Congressman Rick Crawford's got this chili cook-off here in a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. That's always a really fun time where everybody enters their chili in the contest, and we get to pick a winner. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you became. I guess I'm assuming you're conservative. I mean, you're the president of the A-State College Republicans, and so how did you become a conservative?
Well, I grew up in a conservative family. I really kind of started paying attention around the second Obama election, seeing what they're doing, and just a lot of that I don't agree with, between the health care for all and trying to take God out of schools. It's just something I didn't care for, and to me, the conservative platform stands a lot more along the lines of my beliefs.
Yeah. So tell me about I mentioned earlier the College the College Republicans, and we still have these chapters across the country of College Republicans, but they're more welcome here probably at Southern universities than other places. But are there any consequences, or your peer groups, are they upset that you guys are young and are conservative?
I've never really had any backlash or knowing what it has.
Good.
Like I said, we're in the South. Of course, it's a more conservative region, but you do see more like out west, California, that area.
Yeah.
There's a lot more pushback.
Yeah. Do you recognize any maybe a liberal bias in classes or from professors?
Being a business student, you don't get so much of it, but some of the liberal arts classes I've taken, I think you can see a little bit, but nothing like major, just trying to pound it into you or indoctrinate you.
Well, I feel like that's a good point. You're basically saying, when it comes to money, it's a lot more black and white.
Right.
It's not, it doesn't really care about your feelings that much. When it comes to a business, you're either making money or you're not making money.
Right.
So that's got to be, that's kind of where that really is. We talk about the intersection of conservative ideas and reality on this show. That may actually be it, like small business, because that's where you throw all of these emotions, all these feelings. Don't you feel like the left is kind of they gear a lot of their policies towards narratives and emotions instead of critical thinking and facts?
Definitely. I think you really see that, like when they get to the intersectional stuff and your privilege and all that.
So what does that mean, intersectional? I really don't even know. I mean, that's kind of past my time.
Right. My understanding is, different people have different levels of privilege. Like me and you, we're white guys. I'm assuming Christian, conservative.
Yes.
We're on the bottom. We have the least intersectional points or whatever because we're the most privileged.
Okay, so more intersectional points is good, less intersectional points is bad.
If you're a liberal.
Okay.
But so like a minority who's not straight, not Christian, they would have more intersectional points because they're more oppressed in theory.
Okay.
That's my understanding of it.
Okay, so intersectionality is essentially like the Victim Olympics.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay, so like down at there's a high school, Arkansas School for Math and Science and the Arts. Are you familiar with this? Down in Hot
I've heard
Spring.
of it. I had a couple friends went there.
Yeah, so they got into a lot of trouble here recently because they were doing this privilege walk. So they would take the juniors, like because it's a junior and senior, it's only a 2-year school for high school students.
Right.
And as soon as you get there, you had this mandatory privilege walk where you took one step forward if you were from a 2-parent household, and if you weren't, you took one step backwards. And then they make the students look afterwards. Like see the, I guess your intersectionality is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I guess.
But is that stuff you see that pushed much on the college campuses here today?
I think a little bit. There's some, not so much by professors, but there's like student organizations that probably push it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a whole lot of it, or at least not here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is a lot of times if it's at these other universities across the state, if it's not here, it's kind of on its way. That kind of tends to be what happens. Folks, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Chris Hayes. Chris is the president of the Arkansas State University Republicans. It's a student organization on campus. So you guys try to, like you said, you're going to participate in Congressman Eric Crawford's chili cook-off. You're going to participate in that here coming up in a couple weeks. What else do you guys do? What other activities?
Well, a lot of it's like, I know last election, we would try and get out and go door knock for people for conservatives that were running against Democrats. We can't really do that when they're primaried by another Republican.
That's understandable.
Impartial.
Yeah.
But something I've been trying to do is just get to know a lot of our local state reps that are running this area and other politicians.
Yeah. So, like, when you guys have a meet, how often do you guys meet?
We try and do it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Roughly.
And so what's an average meeting like?
Usually I try and always have a guest speaker. Like tonight we have Cole Peck coming.
Okay.
And he's going to try and talk to us about his beliefs, just get to know us a little bit.
Okay.
I either have a local politician, like I said, or someone else. We've had AFP come a couple times, try and visit with us.
All right. Well, hey, that's fantastic. Well, if you ever need a speaker, I'd be willing to come. So put me on the list.
Definitely.
Again, we're talking with Chris Hayes. He's president of Arkansas State University Republicans. So Trump, let's talk Trump. Okay, is he popular on among young people?
Among young people who lean to the right.
Okay.
He's really popular in that he's vilified by people who lean to the left.
Yeah. It depends on what you mean by the word, popular.
Right.
So 2020, how important is this as far as you're concerned? As a young person, I mean, there's a ton of stuff being talked about. If the Democrats were to actually get what they want, you would have this Medicare for all. You would have more of this intersectionality. You would have more this idea of denying the biology of men versus women and that sort of thing. Just there's a lot of really strange things. You now have the climate change people now talking about how we can't have economic growth. They're now openly saying the answer to climate change is socialism. So you know what I mean? So what are your thoughts about 2020 generally?
I think it's going to be very important that we keep principled conservatives in-house and in power. Because you look at the Democrat Party, like you're saying, everything they're pushing is just totally against what made America great, what's kept it great for so long.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. So here's another question, kind of building on the climate change that I brought up, because I feel like I need to bring this up. You have young people who are legitimately scared that things are going to end in 12 years. It's really prevalent over in Europe. Again, it'll probably come here too. But you have a lot of people here, a lot of young people, maybe not in Arkansas, but they really believe that their lives are at stake, that there's going to be massive flooding, or that the hurricanes have never happened before. They really actually need to go look back at in the Dust Bowl. I mean, the weather events that happened in the Dust Bowl we probably would have enacted socialism if it happened today, because people would scream, all these massive weather events. But I guess the point is, as a young person, I mean, do you know any people that are just like, absolutely man-made climate change is real to the degree that they claim?
I don't personally know them. However, there is now an environmental club at A-State, and last Friday they had a global climate strike, where from whatever hours they set, they walked out of class and marched around the lawn of the campus talking about how climate change is an issue. This is all spurred from that girl who spoke at the UN here recently.
Greta Thunberg.
Yes. It's because of what she said. That was their reaction to it.
Okay, so was it a lot of people? Do you know how many people it was?
I wasn't on campus that day. I saw some videos. It was, I'd say, around 50 probably.
Yeah. You think at some point they'd just be like, I don't know, therapy sessions or something. Come together for group therapy. That's essentially what these need to be, because I mean, I got news for you. I just don't think I know the American people don't want socialism, and I know they certainly are not buying that socialism's the answer to control the weather. I mean, that's
Right.
what we're talking about. These people think they can control the weather.
Well, I saw an interview with Andrew Yang. He was talking about how cattle farmers should be having to pay more taxes on their cows because of the pollutants they make.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that goes with the anti-meat situation too.
Right.
You know?
That was something else he was pushing, was using that as a mechanism to get people out of eating meat, going to more vegetarian or vegan diet.
Here's a kind of a news story on that came out today, Chris. It has to do with a scientist came with a study that said red meat doesn't cause cancer, or they couldn't determine that red meat causes cancer.
Now, weren't they just saying it did here recently?
Yes.
Now, if you're in California, everything causes cancer.
That's true.
You have that little Prop 65 label.
Yeah. Straws. We had a meme of the day the other day with a high capacity magazine filled with straws.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, but this scientist, and it was like it's a reputable guy. He's now getting all kinds of backlash because his study found that red meat is fine and says people need, humans should just continue eating the same amount of red meat. And of course, he's being crucified for it.
Oh yeah, well, you see that with the left. Anytime someone goes against their narratives, they crucify them. They do everything they can to them. Even when that guy Juicy Smollett, when all that stuff came out, at first everybody had his back. Then when they saw it was just blatant crap, everybody turned against him.
Yeah.
For a while, anyway.
Yeah.
But
Juicy Smollett, yes, absolutely. But to your point about how. I do want to say one more thing, to your point about how they'll crucify you. They really will if you don't totally agree with everything. So let's say there's like this diehard leftist, let's say she's a female, and let's say she, believes in this income inequality or the fix for it, socialism, Medicare for all. Let's say she believes in intersectionality to a degree, but let's say she dares voice up that, you know what? I do kind of feel uncomfortable if we're going to let biological men use the same public restroom as me. I mean, she's done at that point. She's cut off, and you're now out of the club if you disagree with one little thing.
Right. Well, you see, even now they're starting to turn against major players like Elizabeth Warren. Have you heard about how there's people on like Wall Street bankers saying they won't back her if she wins the nomination? Then even Mark Zuckerberg has come out and said he wouldn't back her.
Yeah, I did see that. That was also on the news today. And I think Wall Street, that's the whole thing. This, with impeachment. What do you think about Trump? What do you think about them impeaching Trump? Let me ask you that.
I think it's a load of crap. They don't have any evidence. But also, from my understanding, they're a little late in the game to really get it to where it would have any effect.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think I think Trump's investigating the investigators, and they know he's really, really, hot on the trail about what started this whole mess. And so, anyway, if people are listening, if there are college or college age students right now listening to the program right now, what could they do, Chris Hayes, if they want to become a member of the Arkansas State College Republicans?
Just start coming to our meetings. We have one tonight at 7 p.m. in the Student Union. And you can follow us on Instagram. It's at AStateCR. I believe it's the same on Twitter.
All right, at AStateCR. Chris Hayes, it's great to meet you, sir, and look forward to doing it again sometime.
All right, thank you for having me.
All righty.
I enjoyed it.
Folks, we're going to take a break, going to reset here. Don't go anywhere, back in just a moment.